So to create our platforms, what I want to do is actually create a brand new layer. I want to keep things often separated in different layers. It just makes it very easy to edit and work with all the different pixels that you actually draw onto your canvas. So I'll click the new layer icon that we can see right here, and that creates layer 4, which I'm going to double click on and name platform, or platforms with an S. I'm going to make sure that that layer is selected so that I know that when I start painting, I'm painting inside the platforms layer. And what I want to do now is select a new brush. So here's my brush icon that I'm going to click on. And when I do, you can see up here at the top, we have these brush options. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this brush option that we see right here. And that's going to open up this box where we can choose from different essentially pen tip types. So for instance, if you were to want to paint with a circular brush tip or a star or different shapes, you can do so. But we want to actually load in a few more shapes. So I'm going to go ahead and click more. And we get this dialog box. And you can go through each one of these and explore the different shapes. You can see there's some really interesting shapes here to work with. But all I'm going to do is click on this first option here, charcoal, and then I'm going to go ahead and click add. And you're going to see that all those charcoal brushes have now been added into my brush palette here. So I'm going to choose the number 51 brush, and I'm going to keep the size of that brush set to 51 in diameter. Now you can see your brush when I bring it here into the canvas, and if I were to change its diameter, you can see that I get a much larger brush. But again, we're just going to go ahead and stick with 51 for this brush size. There we go. Looked like there was a little bug there that when I was editing the size, the brush tip got a little weird. So I just went ahead and clicked on the brush again here in the brush palette. So when I click inside my canvas, you can see that I start to paint with that brush. Now again, a really good keyboard shortcut to remember at this point is how to undo things, and that's just Command or Control, depending on whether you're using a Mac or a PC, and the letter Z. So I'm using a Mac in this case, so I'm just going to do a Command Z, but if you're on a PC, you'll do a Control Z to undo that. So what I want to do is just quickly paint in some platforms. Again, I'm on the platform layer. So I'm just going to create a quick box here. And I'm actually going to be kind of rough about how I do this. Not super clean. And I'll just make a few different platforms. Generally straight edges. Again, don't forget that you can use this navigation box here to zoom into the image. Or if you want to cheat a little bit or be a guru, you can go ahead and use the keyboard shortcut letter Z. So if I zoom in here and I push the Z key, notice that my brush cursor turns into the magnifying glass. That allows me to go ahead and zoom into an image. Now the only problem with that is as I zoom in, we've now lost the pixels that we've painted, or we're at least zoomed into a part of an image where we can't see that anymore. I can click on the corner of the image or the canvas here and stretch that out. But another thing that you can do when you're zoomed into an image is you can hold down the space bar. Now watch what happens when I tap the space bar and hold it down. We actually get this hand icon, which allows me to kind of just push things around my canvas. So space bar, I'm holding it down, and I can zoom around this image. The Z key again allows me to zoom in. And then if I hold Shift and Z, I can actually zoom out. Or again, if that's too complicated for you or you just don't remember those keyboard shortcuts, use the navigation bar over here on the right. But I did want to explain that because you might notice during this video that I am zooming in and out and I'm not actually using the navigation bar here. So again, space bar, I want to move things over a little bit. And then again, I'm going to go back to the brush icon, select that, so I can continue painting. I'll paint my third platform here. I'll give it a little bit of elevation. and just fill in this empty space right there. Again, and you don't have to be perfect about this, which is really kind of the whole point. We're not trying to build perfect pixels and levels here that look like every other video game out there. We're trying to be slightly artistic about this process. So again, I'm going to click up here in the tool options on this brush to bring up the brush options. And then for diameter, I'm just going to go ahead and take this slider and we're going to slide this down to something like 20. So we have a much smaller brush tip. And I'm just going to create one more platform over here. Kind of do something like that. And then I'll zoom out. This time I will use the navigation and just take a look at what my level looks like. Now this looks incredibly boring right now. This looks like the worst level that anyone's ever designed. This should never be published on an iPhone or iPad or anywhere for that matter. So in the next video, watch how quickly we're going to take something that looks so ugly like this and we start making it look really interesting and exciting. And before I forget, I just want to kind of build some walls up here on the side. So I'm just going to finish this off with the same exact brush that I used, which was that brush 51 that we loaded in. And we'll just build some walls there. And then again, we're done with our super ugly level. So in the next video, let's go ahead and see how we can use the pencil tool to start making this a lot more exciting.